Good evening. Yung ipe-present ko for today is more on the uncertainty quantification. Well, in machine learning, pero usually it can be applied to different uh, uh, computational models na where we want to quantify yung uncertainty. So, ayun. So, medyo bago lang din sa akin actually, Joe, yung yung uncertainty quantification. Although mas familiar nga lang din tayo sa yung mga confidence interval, ah, may malaking mundo pa pala ng uncertainty quantification. Ah, so, ah, ano ba yung, uncertainty quantification? So, as you can see here, uncertainty quantification is the science of characterizing, quantifying, and communicating the uncertainty in model prediction. So, in the next, parts chunks here in the R markdown, uh, I will show yung different types ng uncertainty, and then yung different methods or techniques from different philosophies of stat, yung Bayesian at frequencies perspective, and how to deal with uncertainty. So, uh, dadaanan natin for this particular presentation. Ayun. So, bakit ba importante yung uncertainty quantification? So, usually, for me, importante siya. I think kaya siya yung isang area of research na I'm exploring because usually when we doing probabilities or for classification, for example, for medical or maybe kahit yung LLM lang mismo, yung reasoning aspect ng LLM. Yun yung areas na in-explore ko na how to quantify yung output mismo ng model. So, as you can see here, so usually if critical siya for medical diagnosis, if we say that uh, the model, so random forest or a neural network, say that 90% probability of metastatic cancer. So, ano yung true probability niya? Anywhere from 40 to 95%. So, sa decision making or sa if we are going to build a decision support, kumbaga, for the doctors, it's critical to have those upper bound and lower bound uh, probability. And then for the stock prices or price in general sales, so we can have those uncertainty estimates. So for computer vision, autonomous vehicles, so we need to have some uncertainties kung ano yung appropriate decisions for left or right or how to see kung ano ba tama ba yung nakikita niya for example segment of uh, object detection, for example, in determining if that particular car should stop or not, ano yung probability. And yun yung mga critical because it could affect yung mismong violation ng mismong sasakyan ng driver or yung mismong effect niya for the possible na mabangga ng sasakyan. And then scientific research, so crucial for reproducibility and for valid inference or producing yung mismong output ng quality ng research. Ayun, so yun, as the famous quote for developing a model, all models are wrong, but some are useful. So uncertainty quantification help us understand how wrong our models might be. Ayun. So yun yung I think motivation for me to conduct this particular research in uncertainty quantification. Usually, if we have some machine learning or some computation model, we have some y hat equals to or approximated by a function f is given by the x data and the parameters theta here. But usually, it just produce yung actual deterministic output for that particular probability. or range of the value for house cost, for example. So, historically, for statistics in general, so ito yung mga parang background for this concept sa uncertainty quantification. So, yung Bayesian statistics and yung frequentist perspective sa statistics. So, uh, usually, different sila in terms of uh, how they perceive yung probability. So in Bayesian, usually tawag nito, there is a priori and posterior probability. So I usually when I explain Bayesian statistics, for me, yung Bayesian statistics, lagi silang judgmental in terms of determining kung ano yung output, but they change their mind and updates their judgment based on the facts that they see on the uh, environment. While yung frequencies, sila yung mostly uh, what they see is representing the whole universe. Kung ano yung actual uh, probability based on that particular distribution. So, or relationships, kumbaga. So, ito yung mga hypothesis testing, yung mga p-values. So, mostly frequentist perspective, yung mga ganong statistics. Ayun. And then, uh, mas nabuhay yung frequentist during this 30th century. And then, nabuhay ulit yung Bayesian with the Markov chain on Monte Carlo. And then recently, actually, for machine learning, yung conformal prediction. So, later, I show yung pinakang differences nila kung when not to use yung Bayesian and conformal prediction in terms of uncertainty quantification. But first, let's define muna kung ano yung mga types of uncertainty pa ba. Meron pa kasing iba't ibang klaseng uncertainty. Ayun. So, first, ay yung aleatoric uncertainty. So, this refers to irreducible uncertainty. So, usually, uh, refers siya to the uncertainty within the data that we cannot change yung actual uh, behavior ng data kasi inherit mo siya. For example, so I guess, ayun, so you can say na yung sa isang function, for example, in a regression, so is our function and then there's a uh, randomness here. So yung error natin is within a normal distribution. And we cannot change yung error term because it's already in a normal distribution or say. But there are different types pa ng uh, aleatoric uncertainty wherein yung variance nila ay homoscedastic or heteroscedastic. So, either nagbabago yung variance nila with the data or not. So, yung homoscedastic aleatoric uncertainty. So, you can see here na I skip na yung ano, tawag na yung ibang mga parts ng code dito. But just created here a dummy data for 200 data points and then perform some regression here. But just to distinguish yung difference nila. So as you can see here, yung uh, variance dito, uniform, while as you can see sa heteroscedastic, so as x increases, mas lumalaki yung variance. So isang example lang siya ng heteroscedastic rhetoric uncertainty. Ayun. My questions for this one. Yung, or,
Ay, ako, question
kasi,
lang. So, di ba yung aleatoric uncertainty, kasi hindi mo siya ma-reduce, di ba? Or Yeah, I guess hindi mo siya ma-reduce. Pero pag heteroscedastic kasi, meron kang pwedeng, what do you call this? Gawin or treatment para hindi mo makontrol, pero para ma-account mo yung heteroscedasticity. So I guess
Mm.
yung question ko is dahil meron ka naman pwedeng gawin para to account for heteroscedasticity, bakit irreducible pa rin siya?
Ano, ito yung assumption dito is kapag nagawa mo na lahat ng mga possible mong i-reduce regarding the noise, pero may noise pa rin kasi siya. For example, paano ba yung, hmm, yun ang pinakamadali nun. Yung pag-flip ng coin, kumbaga, lagi naman siyang 50-50, di ba? Pero when you execute mismo yung ano, lagi may chances na ah, head siya, tapos yung next, heads ulit, yung heads ulit, tapos isang beses lang siya multi-tails. Yung ganong uncertainties, kumbaga, inherit siya na alam mong 50-50 yung 50% yung probability niya. Pero kapag actual execution, actual flip, hindi siya yung 50% yung may execute mo or ma-observe. Ayun, yung nilagay ko ditong example. Ah, ayun, so yung reasons din nung possible na hindi mo siya mare-reduce is yung actual problem doon sa pag-collect ng data, yung for example, yung inherent siya doon sa process ng pag-collect ng data from the sensors, for example, uh, unobserved variables, possibly may confounding variables, so causal uh, analysis. So iba pa siya. And then may mga other processes pa involved na hindi siya captured nung ah, mismong data available currently nung nagmo-model. So, as the definition, so data uncertainty siya. So mostly sa data, hindi mo ma-resolve, ma-reduce yung uncertainty based on sa data.
Okay. Sige. Gets.
So, yung next naman is since yung kanina is more on sa data, ito naman, model uncertainty, epistemic uncertainty. This one naman is reducible because we can do much better or we can do a lot with the model than the data. Uh, Tapos, for this one, mostly ang technique na uh, for estimating yung uncertainty is yung Bayesian framework. So, so yung epistemic uncertainty is represented by the posterior distribution given these parameters. So, the spread, this one, the posterior distribution is representing the epistemic uncertainty. So, updating yung belief. So, given the data, D, what's the probability of the parameters, and then this one is the dependent probability of the parameters, and then this one is the dependent probabilities given for the data. So dito, na-estimate mo yung, generalize mo yung lahat ng parameters given the data. So we can do that using the Bayesian framework. So characteristic of this one is that we can reduce the uncertainty with the Bayesian framework because we can collect more data or use other models, ensemble different models, for example, so that we can uh, uh, limit the spread of the uncertainty. So yun yung epistemic uncertainty naman. So for this one, so stems from insufficient training data. Usually, if you're doing research, yun, konti yung data niya. So, uh, pwede gamitin yung etong technique. Pwede ring mali yung model na ginamit or merong certain areas sa region, for example, siguro sa Luzon, iba yung uh, behavior ng customer sa Visayas and Mindanao. Ayun. So, with the limited observation, you can use yung epistemic uncertainty. Later, I'll show yung mga challenges in determining yung what kind of uncertainty ba yung dinideal ko ngayon given the data and the model. So, for this one, I tried a different different size of data set. So, 20 and 200 just to see na mas lumiit yung uncertainty. Uh, as you can see here, itong blue one, ito yung 200 data points. And while if we have 20 data points, mas malaki yung uncertainty niya. Ayun. So, yun yung epistemic uncertainty or the model uncertainty. And usually, total uncertainty is the combination of the two uncertainties. And later in the next is I'll show yung common issues. But before I proceed, if may questions for this one, muna. Sa epistemic.
Wala naman.
So, here are some common issues sa doing uncertainty quantification. Usually, if we use the model neural networks or a very deep networks yung maraming uh, hidden layers, or we use maybe transformers, different attention layers. So usually the model predict uh, the probability without acknowledging yung variance. So can lead to catastrophic failures in deployment. So I can see that this is one of the reasons there is a hallucination in LLMs. Uh, so for the example here, a model predicts house price of $500, $500,000. Ano yung tunay na price niya? If ano yung true price niya likely to be 480 to $520,000, or yung ang range ba niya ay 300 to 700. Without uncertainty quantification, we don't know. So, overconfidence. So usually, with uncertainty quantification, we can do that particular upper and lower bound value for the actual probabilities, or value for a price, for example. But so next issue is that failing to distinguish between aleatoric and epistemic uncertainty. Failing to distinguish yung uncertainty within the data and uncertainty within the model. So, uh, so for this one, yung ginamit kong interval dito is yung confidence, and then this is the interval uh, prediction. So, when we do yung confidence, actually, the uncertainty that it produces is epistemic. But if we pass through prediction as in value for the interval, ang nako-capture niya is epistemic and aleatoric. So, we cannot distinguish yung aleatoric and epistemic for the prediction for certain model and data. So you can see here na yung light blue, as you can see here, siya yung total, yung aleatoric and epistemic. While yung dark blue, epistemic. So yung epistemic is yung sa model, as you can see. So you can see here na mas maliit yung width niya, while yung sa data, mas malaki. Pero to distinguish na kung nag-ano lang tayo, nag-run lang tayo ng confidence, which is yung usually ginagawa or practice for identifying the lower and upper confidence level for that particular prediction. So malaki yung width niya. So the particular solution for that is yung techniques that I'll show later for identifying yung uncertainty. So you can see here yung difference sila for the confidence interval. Ito yung technically yung plus minus, the standard error. While yung prediction interval is yung square root no standard error with the uh, sigma square or yung variance. So ito yung prediction interval niya. And one critical part actually for uncertainty quantification as well is given na nag-train tayo ng data, let's say may validate natin with the test data, validation data, if ginawa na natin sa production, dineploy na yung model, di natin alam kung ano yung uncertainty, kung mag-reflect ba talaga doon yung uncertainty na na-capture natin sa training data. So, out of distribution data. So, ito yung isa sa mga problems for uncertainty quantification. Models often fail to recognize when test data comes from a different distribution from training data. So, there are different research or studies for this one na kailangan mo talagang tutukan yung data distribution or there are some assumptions na they are assumed na equal yung actual data distribution. But since in practice, if we are doing it in industry, for example, or for example, we will perform a prediction for a medical diagnosis, critical yung uncertainty quantification for that case. So, uh, so for this one, nag-train lang tayo sa range ng 2 and 8. And then, nag-fit tayo ng linear model. And then, ang test natin dito is from 0 to 12. So, dito, 2 to 8. Pero yung tinest natin yung model, 2, 0 to 12 domain range, kumbaga. And then, as you can see here, ito yung out of distribution data. As you can see, yung uncertainty niya dito, kita na mas lumaki. And while dito sa training domain, okay, na-capture nung model yung uh, uncertainty niya within that particular data points. Ayun. So, ito yung mga issues with out of distribution. And later, I'll show kung ano yung technique how to deal with this particular issue. And then, calibration is the issue naman is when a model is well calibrated, if it's in predicted probabilities, pero kapag ano naman, yung model na-calibrate siya sa maling data, so sort of similar to this out of distribution, pero na-calibrate siya with the test data, for example, or calibration data set. There's also another split for uncertainty quantification that is called calibration data set. That yung pag-capture ng uncertainty with that particular data set, hindi siya okay. So, another issue siya for uncertainty quantification. So, you can see here na kapag ito yung mga coverage dito, for example, so yung 90% dito, yung sabihin, 90% of the data is covered with that particular uncertainty upper and lower bound. 80% dito, itong point dito, 80% ng data point capture siya. So as you can see here, hindi siya tumutugma dun sa actual na calibration. So medyo problem siya how to fit really yung coverage for that particular calibration dataset or and yung actual coverage nung uncertainties. Ayun. May questions ba before I proceed? Yan.
Wala naman.
Ayun. And another issue, kahit ito na yung last, computational cost. So, mostly kaya hindi nagagawa yung uncertainty quantification kasi mabigat siya. Uh, uh, pag-analyze ng model, analyze ng data, and mabigat rin, lalo na kung marami kang features and yung dimension ng data sets mo is mas malaki din. So, if mag Monte Carlo sampling ka dito or Bayesian uh, analysis for that particular uncertainty quantification, uh, mabigat siya. Kung ensemble naman, kung magta-train ka ng iba't ibang model or iba't ibang initial weights, kumbaga, doon sa neural network, and pagsasama-samahin mo yung result niya for a certain output, ayun, mabigat siya. And sometimes, yung mga initial model din, for example, na-train siya, may mga uncertainties pa sila within that particular model, uh, epistemic within that particular model. So, pag pinagsama-sama natin yung mga models na yon, so, uh, hindi na natin naka-capture yung real uncertainty niya. So, with that particular, or kung nare-resolve ba natin yung uncertainty for that particular problem or probability is medyo computational expert, lalo na kung neural network yung gagamitin. Ayun. So, yun yung mga issues for computational costs. Ayun. So, as mentioned earlier, so yung Bayesian uncertainty quantification, so given yung Bayesian theorem, so we want to generalize yung parameters given the data to identify you given the this one, the parameters, the likelihood, how well parameters explain the data. So given the data, what are the probabilities of these parameters, and these are the probabilities for the parameters and the data. So prior, these are the initial beliefs or the initialization. Usually normal distribution to with certain mean and standard deviation. And then yung evidence is this is more on ano ba yung nakikita niya natin doon sa data. Ayun. So, and if we are going to predict a new uh, data and values for X and Y, so this is how we predict and determine yung posterior distribution. So usually, ano naman siya, yung kung how we determine yung uh, probability distribution. And this one, since this is the posterior uh, distribution, so it is the epistemic. And yung probability ng y given yung x parameter, theta, ito naman yung aleatoric. So, going back to the definition kanina, epistemic, ito yung uncertainty ng model, and then yung aleatoric, yung uncertainty with the data. So, since minumultiply natin sila, so, yung probability nila, and then we compute yung integral for that. So, we can have the uncertainty distribution for that particular data points. So, dito nakaka-capture na yung dalawang uncertainty. And then, so going back earlier, so the total uncertainty is the total of the aleatoric and epistemic. And yung usually na ginagamit na library sa R is yung RStan ARM. So, uh, it's a applied regression model via RStan, as you see here. So, usually it's using the Markov chain Monte Carlo and Bayesian analysis for determining yung mismong posterior distribution. So, aside from the normal distribution, so may iba-iba pang assumption for the probability here. So, either yung sampling dito kung sampling lang na is yung normal, mean field, full rank. So, ito yung mga other techniques din to optimize kasi mabigat yung Bayesian uncertainty quantification. Ayun. So, dito, uh, uh, kumuha lang ako ng 25 data points sa empty cars. Tapos, train test fit tayo and then perform the Bayesian linear regression. So, you can see here using the these features and then provide yung prior assumptions, the priori assumptions, and then uh, perform yung base model na dito. So ito yung uh, for that particular package, ito yung method for the GLM, Stan GLM. Yung ginagawa niya is provide the yung median dito is the posterior median of each of the parameter, and then this one MAD SD is median absolute deviation. How robust yung spread nung uncertainty, and this one are the noise or estimated noise standard deviation or the rhetoric uncertainty. So uncertainty with the data. So ito yung mini-measure nung sigma na pinoproduce nung Bayesian model natin dito. And if you want to actually kasi nakaganto siya. If you want to visualize yung uncertainty ng WT na variable. So, ito yung plot niya. So, for each of the parameter, we can visualize yung uncertainty distributions nila given this particular parameter. So, kapag yung HP naman, so this one, and this one. Ayan. So, usually, we set yung probability interval here. So, 95% usually. And then yung outlier that we, or the outer interval 99. But it depends on the use case. For example, if we are doing some clinical trials, usually we want more higher interval here, maybe 99% interval for the uncertainty. Ayun. So, naka-plot lang dito yung for each of the variables of the empty cars that we use for the model. And if you want to visualize uh, the rhetoric or the uncertainty within the data, so this is the uncertainty residual standard deviation posterior distribution plot. Ayun. So this one is the one that uh, uh, it analysis that we can say that we cannot reduce this particular noise within the data that we capture with the empty cars. Yeah. And if you want to predict the full uncertainty, so 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 meron ng method posterior predict, and then we use yung test data set, uh, and then you can see here na yung coverage is 95.7%. So meaning sa data set na meron tayo for uh, ilan ba tayo itong small data set 7. So sa 7 data points, 85% lang yung na-capture nung credible intervals natin, which is 95%. Merong isa dito na data point na lagpas siya yung sa uh, regression line natin for this particular uh, MPG prediction of empty cars. Ayun. And if you want to separate those particular probabilities, so uh, we can use these particular methods, so posterior pred and posterior interval. So as mentioned earlier, yung interval is the epistemic, and then for the ano naman, posterior epred, ito naman yung full uncertainty, yung epistemic and aleatory. And if you want to see here, so for each car, ito yung mga uncertainties nila. Ayun. So yung total, itong light blue, and then yung narrow bar here is yung error within the model, and this one, yung triangle here is the actual prediction, actual value. So ito yung target variable natin kumbaga. And so kasi may malaking errors yung sa naka-capture dito. Ayun. So kasi here yung sa Toyota Corolla, nagpa siya sa intervals ng aleatoric and yung total epistemic and aleatoric data. Some within that particular range, some are not. Ayun. Although 25 data points lang ginamit dito. So we can, as mentioned earlier, yung if we doing the epistemic, the more data, it is mas better yung ma-resolve yung sa epistemic uncertainty. Ayun. Are there any questions for this one? For this particular part, ano lang naman, i-check lang kung naka-capture ba lahat ng distribution for each of the parameters. Kung nag-try tayo ng marami pang iterations ng Monte Carlo. And checking lang din ng distribution ng parameters. Ayan. For limitation, so as mentioned earlier, so kaya konti lang yung data points yung pinili ko kasi start muna sa advantage. So principal framework, so complete probabilistic treatment of uncertainty, so naka-capture natin yung aleatoric and epistemic, interpretable since we was able to capture yung intervals for the epistemic and aleatoric, and flexible. We can incorporate prior knowledge. So although the practice is usually we do input yung priors as normal, and depending on the mean and the standard deviation, we can also use the different distributions here. Let me check kung ano yung mga priors dito. So, ito yung different klase ng distribution. So, you can see Lasso, Laplace, Cauchy, and uh, LG, LKJ, Dirichlet, R squared, and then if we want to have customized distribution, then we can do it also. Ayan. Although usually naman there's a uh, theorem that all of those particular distribution are uh, part of a normal distribution or can be uh, dissect as a normal distribution. Ayun. Uh, Model comparison. So we can use base factors or information criteria to compare yung different models if ever we want to compare it. Uh, Limitation for this particular Bayesian uncertainty quantification is MCMC can be slow for large model and dataset. Yung prior, so as mentioned earlier, so subject, we can choose different priors for the Bayesian, but it can be subjective, and we want to if we want to analyze if the uh, uncertainty quantification for using Bayesian really converge, for example. So we need to understand first ano ba yung Bayesian theorem, for example, for uncertainty quantification. And if we want to model different or complex neural network, for example, it will be very complicated to perform this particular uh, Bayesian uncertainty quantification. Imagine if there's a million parameters from neural network. So each parameters here from that particular neural network will be applied in the that particular Bayesian uh, uh, quantification, uncertainty quantification. Here for this one, and for this one. So uh, usually there are different techniques to perform Bayesian neural network uh, that involves already the parameters for the priors uh, within that particular architecture. So yun yung mga workaround if ever, if we are doing some uncertainty quantification for neural network using Bayesian. Are there any questions before I proceed to the next type of technique?
On right now. Angela, may questions ka? I think silence
Not
means
really.
none. Okay, sige,
Okay,
sige.
it's a very new concept for me. So I'm still making sense. But thank you for sharing this, Joma. Uh, Learned a lot today.
Okay po.
Getting
Ah,
familiar. I think that's my goal here today. Thank you. Thank you,
for
Joe.
conformal prediction, uh, so from earlier, so mostly it's more on the Bayesian perspective. This one is more on the frequentist approach, and uh, somehow gaining traction in terms of doing uncertainty quantification because it's much more easier to perform uncertainty quantification instead of training the model uh, within and then uh, while training the machine learning model or maybe statistical model, uh, you're already doing the uncertainty quantification. This one, for uncertainty quantification, may model ka na, you train the model, and then uh, regardless of the architecture, uh, you don't need to modify the weights or the parameters of that particular model and just calibrate the output itself of the machine learning model or statistical model. So the core concept is that, so you can see here, I don't need to understand everything about the data. I just need to look at how wrong my model was in the past and use that on determining how wrong it might be in the future. Ayun. So, key properties, so you don't need to identify the distribution or the priors. Uh, Finite sample validity, so it can guarantee yung coverage within any sample size. Model agnostic, it can work with regression, classification, and that's the reason why it's having a traction in terms of uncertainty quantification is mas magaan lang siya kasi you don't need to train or identify the uncertainty given the parameters. For this one, given the parameters na and the data, uh, you will get the uncertainty quantification itself. Ayan. So these are some assumptions. So as mentioned earlier, so exchangeable yung bawat data points for this one. So you don't need to identify the priors. Ito yun lang naman yung pinaka-gist for this assumption. And one caveat, I guess, hindi naman caveat, pero feature for the conformal is that we need to have a calibration dataset for this particular uh, conformal prediction technique. So we have the training dataset, calibration dataset, and then we need to identify yung significance level that we want to cover for that particular uncertainty quantification. So usually the usual machine learning process, so data process the features, we fit the model, and then we compute the conformity scores or the errors for each of these particular uh, prediction of within the calibration data set, as you can see here. And then we perform a quartile regression. And then the uncertainty will be given new data point here, the quartile errors will be the plus and minus errors within that particular prediction or data point predicted by the model. So that will be the conformal predicted intervals for this particular technique. Ayun. So mas simple lang siya. Walang uh, uh, training of uh, identifying the priors and then computing the posterior distribution. For this one, kunin mo lang yung error within the particular uh, calibration data set and then use it for the uh, prediction interval. And for the coverage guarantee, so there's some theorem lang here that it will always be the probability of y will be always be within that particular uh, conformal prediction. So as mentioned here, ito yung conformal prediction. Will be always be greater than or equal to 1 minus alpha, which is the uh, interval that we choose, the alpha here, significance level. So, ayun. So, for the implementation, so usually ano lang, train, calibration, actually may test pa na dataset. So, you can see here, meron pang test ID. So, test, and then test dataset using the Boston dataset, as you can see here. And then this is the size. And then we perform just a simple linear model. And then so the parameters, coefficients for each of the features. And then if we plot yung conformity scores, so you can see here, ito yung pag-compute lang ng prediction. And then yung actual target variable natin dito. And when we perform yung plotting lang, so you can see here, the plots of the residual, the errors, and then this one is yung coverage for the 90, using the 126 data points. And kapag plinot natin siya, so as you can see here, compare kanina, just sa Bayesian uncertainty quantification na mayroong isa, yung 85.7% yung coverage niya. You can see here, mas covered na niya talaga yung lahat. For this one, 92.1 yung coverage niya, actually. As you can see here, this is yung black dots here are the actual, and then the green bars are the conformal upper and lower bound. Predicted is the blue one, and the yellow are the standard intervals. So, yun yung madalas technique for uh, quartile uncertainty quantification. You can see here if we perform yung mismong prediction. So, covered yung lahat for the uncertainties. And for classification naman, so yung gamit lang nag-random forest lang tayo dito. So, model agnostic din naman siya. And you can have the uncertainties na ang coverage for this one is 92.3%. Ayun. So, kasi yung quartile, kinuha lang natin yung distribution. Yung alpha natin dito is 0.1 or yung 90% na covered dapat. Tapos, yung true class for this one ay what's yung values for this one. Yes and no. Ayun. So, kaya interesting din sa akin yung uncertainty quantification, lalo na for classification. Because it can identify, for example, although hindi naman separate issue siya na, for example, yung bias, but more on the fairness of the model in predicting, for example, races or gender, for example. So, we can have more uncertainty in determining yung actual one project kasi namin with CARE is we are predicting yung height and weight, and yung kung pasok ba yung mga kinder students to certain range of kung healthy ba sila or not. So since we are dealing with human person, and we are determining yung health of that particular student, so we want to identify yung actual uncertainties ng predictions namin, lalo na if we are going to roll out that particular model across the Philippines. So, isa yun sa mga uh, research studies that we want to make sure that uh, yung uncertainty quantification part, we make sure that the model is robust in terms of the predictions. And it has some quality in terms of determining yung health ng mga students. Ayan. So, advantages of conformal prediction is that it doesn't have assumption of the data, uh, model agnostic then, simple to implement, uh, but yung actual limitations niya is you want to have a calibration data set. And for that particular constant read, so basically, since there we only conform with a certain error bounds from that calibration data set, dapat mag-conform din yung out of distribution data set with that particular separate data set, which is the calibration data set. So, yan yung limitation ng conformal prediction. That's why it needs a lot of data as well still to perform the uncertainty quantification. So for comparison, so ayun, so uh, for Bayesian, so we need the priors uh, for coverage approximate sa Bayesian given the parameters and data, while yung sa conformal exact given the uh, calibration data set. But in terms of computation, mas mabigat si Bayesian and si conformal mas mabilis. And sa Bayesian, probabilistic siya using the Bayesian theorem, Bayesian perspective, while yung conformal is more on the frequentist mindset, while both naman flexible and model agnostic. Yung prior knowledge for Bayesian, we can tweak yung initial assumptions for the priors, while sa conformal, we don't need those particular priors. Although, if that is a critical assumption for a certain model problem that you are dealing with, maybe hindi niya malo-learn yung certain uncertainties nung data and model, aleatoric and epistemic. So with the small samples ng Bayesian, so it cannot determine mas nag power yung Bayesian with more data, while yung conformal, it can easily determine the upper and lower bound errors, although it much better than syempre kung mas madami ding data so that it can be lessen yung uncertainty with that particular calibration data set. Ayun. So for each of how or when to use each of the method. So if we have some prior knowledge to incorporate, so we know the prior distribution of some features, we need a full probabilistic interpretation, and we need to separate yung uncertainty within the model and uncertainty within the data. So kaya siya with the Bayesian, and we can perform some model comparison, and we have some computational resources or if we are going to Bayesian. For conformal naman, if we need guaranteed coverage, so we want to be precise on uncertainty that dapat sakop na lahat ng 95%. So issues possible maging issue siya if you want a certain data point, but iba yung uncertainty coverage niya. So, variation siya. Pero kung gusto mo ah, uniform na iba yung for every data point, ah, pare-parehas yung coverage nila, conformal yung gagamitin. For formal din, mas mabilis, mas simple lang implementation. You just need the calibration data set, compute the error, and then compute the quartile distribution. Then we can now compute the upper bound for a certain prediction for conformal technique. But there are some issues like, for example, model misspecification, and if we are going to deploy it in production, so maybe yung distribution ng calibration data set or no actual training data might not be suited, may mga hindi makaka-capture during the uncertainty quantification. So, possible approach, pagsamahin, uh, monitor the models, ayun. So, as mentioned earlier, so yung confidence is the epistemic, and then the interval, the prediction is the combination of two, and then we identify the version of, or we test the heteroscedastic uh, ng models and we visualize it. Ayun. Mas present ko yung more on sa regression and classification for this one dahil different concept yung uncertainty quantification in terms of time series for this one. Since may mga temporal dependence for time series that it violates some of the assumptions for uncertainty quantification. Ayun. So other approach for uncertainty quantification is there's a Monte Carlo dropout, uh, deep ensemble, so training multiple neural network or models. As mentioned earlier, merong inherent na sa neural network yung Bayesian analysis within the architecture, and then conformal prediction as mentioned earlier. So we train a very deep neural network or variational autoencoder, for example, transformer, and then later when we have some calibration data set, we identify the upper and lower bound errors. So key takeaways are uncertainty quantification is essential and responsible for machine learning development. And then there are two main types of uncertainty: aleatoric uncertainty within the data, epistemic uncertainty of the models, and there are different techniques for uncertainty quantification. There's the Bayesian method and conformal prediction. Yeah. So final thoughts for this one. The purpose of the model is not to fit the data, but to sharpen the question. So uncertainty quantification help us make better decision, understand model limitation, build trust in machine learning models that we are building, especially in production, identify when to collect more data and avoid overconfident prediction. So a model that knows what it doesn't know is far more variable than one that doesn't. And these are some of the references.